Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Welcome again on my channel. And today we're going to continue our investigation of the position of the Bible in Islam and especially in the Quran. We have seen that the Bible is considered as the truth, as the light, as a guidance, and that the Quran didn't come to change or to upgrade the Bible, but to certify its authenticity. As we have in the word musadikan used when a notary compares a photocopy with the original and say, this is conform to the original. So it means that the Bible in the time of the Quran was the truth, was the light, was the guidance, was the book that Muslims were supposed to believe in. If this is the case, could it be that the Bible has been falsified after that? And in the last presentation, we have asked some questions. How could a book that was spread at that time, 700 years after it has been written, spread in Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa, in India, China, in Siberia? How could all these Christians and Jews agree to falsify the Bible? We have talked about that, so you can watch it again. Don't want to repeat it, but still, I promise you that there are some reasons to doubt about the validity of the Bible. And that's what we're going to investigate today. First, yes, there are differences in the manuscripts. We have today more than 5,600 manuscripts of the Bible that are older than the Quran. But between these manuscripts, there are some differences. The question is, what do we do with that? First, I want to repeat that the Quran clearly says the Bible is the truth. The Quran certifies that the Bible is authentic. So if we reject the Bible for any reason, then we have to reject the Quran. The manuscripts are older than the Quran. The Quran speaks about the validity of those manuscripts. So if there are differences, we have to find another reason. The explanation is very simple. We don't believe that the Bible has been inspired word by word, but that the message of the Bible is important. I want to give you an example. Let's say you find a box in an old house, and in this box you find an old document that seems to be a map showing you the way to a treasure chest. This document is a little bit broken, maybe a part is missing, a part has been a little bit burnt, or some words have been retouched. Are you going to throw away this map showing you the way to a treasure? No, of course you're not going to do that. In the same way, it may be that the Bible has been changed a little bit here, or that manuscripts have differences. But first, let me tell you that as a reader of the Bible in Greek, in Hebrew, in Aramaic, the differences between the manuscripts are extremely small, tiny. The message is the same in all the manuscripts. And since we don't believe that the Bible has been inspired word by word, but that the message is important, this is not a reason to doubt about the validity of the Bible when we find differences in the manuscripts. Some people say, yeah, but the translations are different. Well, of course, every book that is translated can be translated word by word, and that's more difficult to understand. Or it can be translated according to the meaning, and it's easier to translate, but it's not necessarily as accurate as the other pretend to be. This is a problem every translator is aware about. In the same way, you have Bibles that are translated word by word. Some are translated more according to the meaning and not literally, but it doesn't affect the manuscript, the basis used by the translators. However, we have some differences between, let's say, the four Gospels. In one blind man was healed, in the other one, two blind people were healed. or between the books of the Kings and the Chronicles, you have some difference in the figures, how long this king was living, how long he reigned. These differences exist, that's true. But are there reasons to throw away the whole Bible? Remember the story of the map bring you to a treasure. And that brings me to the point, well, and that's what some people say, why do we have 4 Gospels? Some people argue that these 4 Gospels will be different, but think about the 2 cameras we have in the studios who bring the message in 2 different perspectives. Or let's say the president or the king of a country is on visit in a big city. Some reporters will talk about the political impact of his visit. Some will talk about the economical impact. Some will talk about the way his wife is dressed. So the same event is recorded under different perspectives and with different purposes. Still, the king or the president came. So in the same way, the gospel writers present Jesus under different angles. We could take another example. When you listen to music, you have 2 loudspeakers making the so-called stereo effect. That's much better than a mono effect. It brings more life into the music. In the same way, the repetition of the same story written by different people in the Gospels bring a new dynamic about the life of Jesus. That's why I would say. Now, do we have some other reason to doubt in the Bible? Well, maybe the fact that some Christians have doubt about the authenticity of the Bible. It's true that in the end of the 18th century and in the 19th century, some people have been touched by the doctrine of rationalism. At that time, science was growing, industry was growing, technology, and people began to doubt about everything that is not provable by science. That's why some people began to believe in evolution, rejecting the biblical and the Quranic view of creationism. So what? Some people also doubt that there is a God. Some people doubt about miracles. Some people said the Bible cannot foretell the future because nobody knows about the future. So rationalism killed what we call the possibility of a godly revelation. And that happened with the Bible. That happened with the Quran in the same way. But that's not a reason to doubt, because if we believe in a God, we have to believe that this God is powerful, that he can do things we cannot do, things we cannot understand, things we cannot prove scientifically. It doesn't mean that the Bible or the Quran contradict the science, no. But it means that we're on a different level here, and our topic is not to reject what is not provable by science. On the contrary, I believe as a believer, that someday science will prove everything the Bible says and maybe everything the Quran says, but we are now with the Bible. Unfortunately, there are also some Christians who criticize the Bible in the way they treat the Bible, by using it like an old book, a book that has no value, but showing no respect for this book. Again, is that a reason to reject the Bible? I would say that if you reject the Bible, that is a light, a guidance, as the Quran says, is a big mistake. You miss something that could be very important in your life. And I know that some people are afraid of what they don't know. I remember when I lived in Thailand, sometime when we came to Europe, we invited friends for Thai or Chinese food. And at that time, 40 years ago, people in Europe had no idea about Chinese food. So they say, oh, it's maybe rotten eggs or something like that. Today, in every corner in our big cities, we have Chinese food, we have Thai restaurants, and everybody eats it. Why? Because we have learned to appreciate this food that was so different and so threatening at the beginning. In the same way, if thinking of reading the Bible is something threatening for you, why don't you just try? Go on internet, download the Bible, begin to read it. You can buy someone, you can find the text. It's not a big problem. The Bible is translated in thousands of languages today, so there's no reason why you couldn't have access to it wherever you are. Just try, read the story, make your own judgment. But remember that the Quran says the Bible is the truth, and this is valid for the Bible at that time and for the Bible today because it has not been changed. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the Bible, and next time we're going to see that in the mind of many Muslims, the Quran has a different position as in the position of the Bible in the mind of Christians. I think there's a difference here we need to know. So don't forget to follow us, and thank you if you like it to mention it. Thank you for your comment as well. And again, God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Be peace upon you.